Hey everyone, welcome back to the On a Water Break podcast. I'm your host, Steve McCarrick. In this episode, we're getting back to my roots here on the East Coast, sitting down with center snare of United Percussion, Dylan Torres. Dylan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited to get to talk to someone from United since I was there for a while. I'm wondering if it's any different from when I was there for a couple years. But before we get into that, man, we always start this off with 32 counts where you can just tell us all about your background. Gives you about 30 seconds. You ready to give it a shot?
Yeah, let's go.
Cool.
Hey, my name's Dylan Torres. I'm from Brick, New Jersey, pretty much right on the Jersey Shore. I marched 5 seasons with Brick Memorial High School Snare Line. Then in 2018, I marched Encore, which was Sound Sport. It was also their debut season. In 2019, I went to Bushwhackers, and then I did a couple seasons with Carolina Crown starting back in 2020. I've been marching United since 2020, and this summer I'm going to be aging out with the Boston Crusaders.
Cool, man. When you were marching Encore back in the day, was that Sound Sport at that time?
Yeah, it was our debut season in 2018, so we were
Oh,
doing
wow, yeah. It was brand new that year, too.
Right.
I never actually got to ask anyone about Sound Sport. Could you tell me a little bit about what that experience is before we get back towards United?
So basically, the Sound Sport was exhibition. So I'm not too sure how the scoring works, but we were performing in Allentown. I remember getting like a silver medal, or like they score in like medals, I think, not necessarily points.
Okay.
So yeah, we didn't compete too much over the summer. We did a few like local shows, but
Yeah,
um,
it's interesting. I was always curious what the differences were there. I guess it's a little bit in how they actually like adjudicate the groups and like systematically score them. But
right.
that aside, man, I wanted to get to hear a little bit about United. Could
Mhm.
you tell us what the show is this year and give us a walkthrough of how it works?
Sure. The show this year, The Powers That Be. Um, so the show basically kind of explores power in its literal and figurative sense.
Uh huh.
We use props that have lights and things like that to represent power, powering up and powering down, and then also the feeling of power, like the emotional feeling, and kind of how two people can trade power. And the music itself is also just very emotional and powerful at times, and just draws the audience in and out all the way throughout the closer. It's really cool.
Yeah, man. I noticed that with the powerful music, something that I wanted to speak a little more about, if anything, the rhythms throughout that show are wonky. You
Mm.
guys are playing some really, really interesting beats. How do you even like go about cleaning or learning a book when you look at it and it's like there's a seven lit here inside of a quarter note triplet and it's really like not discernible rhythms in that way.
Yeah, it was kind of definitely wonky at first, but Alex Beltran is super, super like thorough,
Uh
and
huh.
he's very like he will break stuff down. He'll give us like checks and stuff like that, but it's sort of like you have to forget about maybe the meter for a second and just kind of focus on like what the hands are trying to do within a certain amount of counts, and then just build consistency and get those reps.
Yeah, right. I think you can tell that United plays with like honestly, I think a bit more beef than most of the WGI ensembles.
Yeah.
Like the low end has like a thickness to the sound, not in like a wide sense, like
Mhm.
in like a sound quality sense. I feel like you play kind of similar to like a drum corps
Right.
in indoor in like a way that works well, and I like. Uh,
Yeah, last year, I mean, we had the 10-man stair line, so we were working on balance the whole year.
right.
So that was fun. This year we're back down to 9, but like we're still playing with nice heavy hands, but relax at the same time. So it helps with the technique, getting a lot of those low fast notes. Like we're still able to use the dexterity that we want to play all the fast stuff, but like that East Coast just like hit the drum energy
Right.
all the
How
way.
much time would you say you guys like dedicate throughout the season towards like working on chops, um, as compared to just like strictly cleaning?
Um, I would say a lot of our chop building maybe is worked on in our video assignments throughout the week.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes we'll spend like Friday night blocks and subs, just kind of like getting the hands buzzing and then trying to like bump some tempos in our exercises and stuff like that. But as the season goes on, we shift more towards the visual and then the musical aspect of the show.
Right. So how did the show come together this year? Would you say you guys have done a lot of redesigning, a
Hmm.
lot of cleaning? What's kind of been like the road you took to get towards the end of the year?
So we have like our design process is kind of like Play-Doh, so we can kind of like mold it
Hmm.
as the show progresses and what works and doesn't work. Um, so in the beginning, we restaged, a good amount after the Monroe Regional. But before that, we had our staging weekends, and it was kind of like, if this works, it's cool. If it doesn't work, let's just change it.
Right.
Just stuff like that. It's very flexible.
Yeah, I think that in indoor especially it has to end up being that way at times just cuz there's like so much emphasis on the show. The battery has to make the show entertaining because there's no one else out there to do it for you. So I
Yeah.
think it like really lends itself to needing lots of revision throughout the length of the year. Um, what would you say makes United as a whole ensemble unique? And it doesn't have to just be like a this year thing. Like,
Mhm.
what do you think United in general? What makes that unique?
Um, I thought a lot about this because United is like on the East Coast. It's in the tri-state area. We have like people from the PA area. We have people from even all the way up from Maine coming down. So we have like a nice eclectic group of like
Hmm.
individuals from different backgrounds who come to make this group really special. And it's just like the dedication of the members to make these trips and to come out to rehearsal and just show up every weekend. Um, and that's on the member side. Just like the uniqueness of the people who come to March here.
Right.
For show design and all that stuff, I would say like the introduction of technology um,
Hmm.
has really been something United's striving for. Um, Not only with our props, but also just like the message and the themes of our shows. In the last couple of years, have kind of revolved around like technology and the evolution of like what the world is seeing right now. You know, so that's what I think the path we're on.
Yeah, I totally noticed that. I feel like even back in like 2017 ish, when I had first started at United, was when I
Mhm.
felt United started to get like very spacey and very like space electricity oriented.
Mhm.
So I totally agree. That's kind of the lane that they like carved themselves in terms of like show design in the world class level. And I also think like what you had mentioned about the members being unique is something I've thought about United for a long time, which is that it's kind of almost like a rite of passage on the East Coast, where like if you do band seriously enough and if you do drumline like if you've done enough seasons on the East Coast, a lot of people end up making their way to United at
Mhm.
some point along the way, and it almost becomes like this little in club. I feel like of people that have done a lot of good drumming on the East Coast.
Right.
But
Yeah, a lot of people have marched with each other in other groups, and then they just end up here, and it's like a great time.
yeah, man, it totally is, and great staff too. There's like so
Mhm.
many absolutely world class staff
Yeah.
teaching the folks over there at United. Um, But anyway, we're going to bounce to a quick commercial break. I'll be back with Dylan in a little bit. We'll hear about some of his favorite shows.
Hey, Hey, this is Christine Ream.
And Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
Hey everyone, it's Tim Hinton, the beast of the marching arts, here from the Marching Roundtable podcast. I got to tell you, this week's podcast, I think you'll really enjoy it. It's called Trusting Your Gut in the Creative Process. Jessica Slaybaugh talks with Zachary Barber, and they do it in the context of creating a winter guard show, but it's all about kind of figuring out if things are going well when you're putting your show together, when to know when to pivot, maybe make some changes. I think you'll enjoy that conversation. Next week, on Monday, April 10th, Matt James is here as part of our series on 3 things I wish I'd known when I first started teaching. Matt James, of course, was the director of bands at Lawrence Central High School and had those wonderful shows and wonderful bands for so many years. I'm sure that you'll be interested in hearing what he has to say, advice for you as you're doing your own teaching, especially if maybe you're early in your career. And then the week after, on Monday, April 17th, well, I gotta tell you, you can't always have a great podcast. I had a hard time finding a guest, so I'm gonna be talking with this group from this new podcast called On a Water Break. And, you know, it may not be our best episode ever, but I think you'll enjoy hearing from some of the hosts. They seem to have thousands of them, but anyway, some of the hosts are on that to talk about how they put the podcast together and the lessons they've learned as they've started the process. So make a note, April 17th, a group from On the Water Break. And enjoy the podcasts we have out now. And remember, you can find over 1,100 podcasts at our website at marchingroundtable.com. Hope that you'll go and listen and learn.
All right, Dylan. So tell me a little bit about your favorite show. If you could have marched in any show at any point in history, which show would it be?
This show would be United 18.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
This show is like, it was one of the first shows I ever saw in person. I was recently introduced to indoor at the time, so it's just super inspirational in that sense. And I love the music and the motifs throughout the entire show is just like captivating to me, and it still is. Today I'm still like eager to learn. I'm trying to find sheets and stuff.
Well, I think you're talking to the right guy. I'm pretty sure I got the Google Drive for that one. So.
Yeah, send that.
I gotcha. Yeah, that show was really cool. That snare line was monstrous. They were so good.
Absolutely.
And I'm a huge fan of Paul Nalesnik and all of the things, especially the way that he writes. I think that it like walks a cool line of being a little bit West Coast and like vanguardy in how it sounds, but keeping some of that like East Coast chops oriented, like just difficult and good drumming. Paul always did a good job of walking those 2 lines, especially that year in 2018.
Right.
But if you could have designed any show or taught any show ever, which show would that be?
This is a tough one for me. I would say probably like Rhythm X 18, because there was so much going on there. Like
there was so much going on 2018 period. Good year.
Yeah, so much. An exciting show, and just like a lot of different like aspects to the show, a lot of different like moments and just like, you know, emotions, I would say.
That show just looks like it would have been so fun to perform. Like when they have that moment with the guitars, crazy. I being a bass drummer, I love RXB that year. They were amazing.
Yeah.
But even just like, I think it looked cool. Like no floor out there, plays right into the idea of all the world's a stage. That's I think that's on the short list of best X shows ever, up there with like 13, 9, 10.
For sure.
It's got to be up there. Anyway, now typically the hardest question out of these three, if you had to cut a show from history, which show would you get rid of?
This is definitely the hardest one. Because I've watched this show before with a couple of friends, and it just like didn't do a whole lot for me. Emotionally, it was Carolina Thunder.
Oh my God.
Back
It's
in
crazy. 99? Oh
Yeah.
my God, dude, that's so crazy you said that, because I just earlier tonight recorded the other performer spotlight that we're doing this week with a guy named Michael who plays quads at MCM.
Okay.
And he said he would cut Carolina Thunder 99.
Wow. That's crazy. Great minds think alike.
Yeah, wow. That's funny. That show must have been dreadful, dude. Tell me about that show.
I mean, so it was a tribute. It was the music to the Holocaust, and you know, it was. I guess they used music from that time period, or just essentially a tribute, but it was a little bit touchy, and I guess it just didn't really do like a whole lot in terms of like a show that I would want to like watch again and again.
Mm-hmm. So. I think, did Carolina Thunder get banned from WGI?
That could be true.
I want to say they did, and I want to say they got banned for that show. Yeah, because I feel like I heard that they got banned. That was like in my head last time. But it sounds, I think it was that show. That's ringing all the right bells.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go, I guess, watch that show, because it's crazy to me that you both picked the same one. There must be something to this.
Yeah. And I know Michael, too. I marched with him before.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you guys conspired to...
Maybe not.
No, that's cool, man. Where'd you guys march together?
We did Crown 21 together.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we were talking about Crown 21 on the other spotlight as well, because I guess you got to march with a bunch of my friends, Jack, Ethan, Brendan, and that bass line.
That bass line was crazy.
They were so good. Listeners, if you haven't seen Crown 2021, since I know that season gets a not the love it deserves sometimes, you got to check out that bass line at least. But check out the whole drum line. Yeah. I thought it was cool the way, like, we were just talking about Paul Malesnik. He had, like, some of his influence sprinkled over at Crown that year.
Yeah, for sure.
And I thought it was noticeable at times in the writing. But, yeah, that was really cool, man. That show was really cool. Carolina Thunder 99 might not have been so cool, apparently, but I'll go check it out.
Yeah.
What's your favorite video of you performing, and where could our listeners find it?
So do you want like an indoor video?
It can be anything. People have been giving drum corps.
Yeah. I like the semis lot from Indy, Carolina Crown 22. The George Collins video is pretty solid.
Okay.
That's just on YouTube. And then for indoor, it was the R bass video from United 22.
Okay.
The battery focus video. That's a pretty solid one as well.
Nice, yeah. I'll go check that out. Everyone else should go check it out as well. And if anybody wanted to follow you on social media, where could they find you?
My main social media is Instagram, Dylan_Torres 81. And yeah, that's pretty much all I use. I got to post some more content on there.
I feel you. I don't think my Instagram has any posts on there in 3 years or so now. Which is crazy. I did a whole indoor age out. I posted nothing about it. Not once in the beginning or the end.
It gets overwhelming a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes I just like to be off it. But Yeah, no, I'll at least pop back on, make sure I'm following you. Everyone else should as well. Dylan, I appreciate you taking the time to pop on the show here. Good luck wrapping out the end of the season. I'll
Thank you.
for sure be watching you and checking out United in the lot and in the arena as well. But until then, dude, good luck. And I'll see you in Dayton.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Talk to you.
Take care.
Thank you all for listening. If you enjoy the show, please follow us at On a Water Break. Please share the show with a friend. Please write us a review online. If you would like to be featured on Performer Spotlight, you could reach out to me at Stephen McCarrick on Instagram. I am excited to meet you, and I'll see you in Dayton.